Okay, continuing on to chapter 2.1.4. This is on inner products. An inner product, the definition is a function which pretty much only this day will denote with this notation, parentheses, first argument, second argument with a comma in between them. So this goes from a vector space times another vector space to whatever field it's over. And that always for us, this is going to be the field of complex numbers. With the following properties. So this function satisfies three properties. It is linear in the second argument. The second property is that V inner product W is equal to, if I reverse the order, W V. I'm allowed to do that as long as I put a complex conjugate. So V inner product W is equal to W inner product V star still referring to the complex conjugate. And then the third property is that it's non-negative. So V inner product with itself is greater than or equal to 0. And furthermore, it's equal to 0 if and only if this vector V is the 0 vector. Remember this notation, 0 is always the 0 vector. So you should be familiar with, as an example, the inner product on Cn. How do I do this? Given two vectors VW with components V1 through n and W1 through Wn, it's equal to a sum over I going from 1 to n, Vi star Wi. And we'll use almost always this quantum notation, and you can show based on our definitions that this will be equal. The inner product VW will be denoted bra V ket W. Bra V ket W. Make sure you can work this out. It's a good exercise to take the bra of the column vector V to get a bra vector, take the conjugate transpose, and then it's a matrix product. It's a 1 by n matrix times an n by 1 matrix. So you can evaluate that and make sure that you understand why it's equal to this. Now, some rapid-fire definitions about this, some terminology that's important. So a vector space with an inner product is called, very creatively, an inner product space. Inner product space. A Hilbert space, so this is the definition of an inner product space. A Hilbert space, term I mentioned, which is sort of the mathematical foundation of where quantum mechanics and quantum information operates, is also an inner product space in the finite dimensional case. So is an inner product space, and I'll say finite dimensional, which is always going to be the case for us in this course. If you're in an infinite dimensional space, there's one more criteria that you need, but just think of it as an inner product space. Okay? So a vector space with an inner product is a Hilbert space. Another definition that's important, just notation, we have V is said to be orthogonal or perpendicular to W, if and only if their inner product is 0. Does anyone know? So we use two terms for this, orthogonal and perpendicular. Does anyone know why? They mean the same thing. Why do we have two terms? Orthogonal more general. This could be the case. As far as I understand the etymological history, orthogonal is Greek, perpendicular is Latin. Okay. And both stuck around. in addition to vectors being orthogonal, we want to have a notion of the size of a vector, which will be the norm. So another definition, the norm of vector v is equal to, we'll use the following notation, 2 bars around the vector to denote its norm, and that is defined as the square root of the inner product of the vector with itself. Unit vectors are vectors with unit norm. Vectors with norm 1. And the last definition before something new, a set of vectors vi, where I goes from 1 to n, is said to be orthonormal if and only if these vectors vi, vj are equal to 1 if I is equal to j and 0 otherwise. Sometimes you'll see this with the notation of the Kronecker delta, delta ij. It just means what I wrote here. So now perhaps a new definition which you haven't seen before, the definition of an outer product. So an outer product, has anyone seen this term before? It's going to be a special case of a matrix product, but it appears so often that we give it a special name. So an outer product will be of the form ket w times bra v. Okay? This is not an x in the middle. This is the right-hand side of the ket, and this is the left-hand side of the bra, that 2 angled brackets. It's easier to write as an x when you're writing it down. So ket w times vector v, which will go from a vector space v to a vector space w, v being a vector in v, w being a vector in w. It's defined in the following way. W(v) acting on a vector v prime. So it'll act on a different vector in v, and it'll give us a vector in w. For now, we're going to define this through the inner product. So what we do is we say this is equal to w times the inner product v prime. And now what is the inner product? It's just a number. The inner product goes from 2 vectors to the field over that the vector space is defined over. So we could write this out front if we want. It's a new vector that's proportional to v with overlap equal to the inner product of v and v prime. So this is a linear operator. And as such, it has a basis. There's one very useful thing that we use outer products for, which I'm going to write down before I give you an example to make this a little more concrete. It's a very nice theorem that given any orthonormal basis, ONB, and let's call that basis just I, so a set of vectors. You know, I've been using v sub I as the vector, you know, v for vector as usual. But again, whatever I put in the ket is a valid symbol. So the v is kind of overkill. Let me just use the I, and the index is going to refer what the vector is. So any orthonormal basis I, for example, you could have I going from 1 to n if you want. The following is going to be true. Sum over I going from 1 to n of these outer products, I, outer product I, is equal to the identity matrix. This is a very important property known as the completeness relation. completeness relation. One more thing to write down before I give you an exercise. So the last thing is another theorem, Cauchy-Schwarz inequality, which will, as usual, not show up often, but often be this, when it does, be the secret to whatever we're trying to prove. So the Cauchy-Schwarz inequality says that the square of the inner product V with W is at most the inner product of V times the inner product with W. If you'd like a proof of this, you could find it in the textbook. I'm just going to write it down for now without proving it. So the last thing for today is I would like to try one more exercise. I'm going to give you first an example of how to actually compute these outer products, just thinking of it as a special case of a matrix product, and then I'll give you an example. So here's the example. Let's evaluate this outer product 0 with 0. Cat 0 times bra 0. How would I do this? Well, let me just think about it as a column vector times a row vector. We know we defined the column vector for 0 as a 1 in the top, 0 in the bottom. So from that, I can figure out what the bra version is. I just take the transpose and then the complex conjugate. Numbers are real here, so the complex conjugate doesn't do anything. Now, this is a 1 by 2 matrix times a 2 by 1 matrix. Do you agree? Column vector is nothing more than a 1 by whatever it is matrix. And so what should be the dimension of the resulting matrix here?
Wouldn't it be the other way? Isn't the column one?
Thank you. I switched it. Thank you. So this will be a 2 by 1. And that will make the dimensions make sense. Thank you. 2 by 1 times a 1 by 2. So now what should the dimension of the result be? 2 by 2, right? So it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. And you should be able to evaluate this now just using the rule for matrix multiplication. How does it go? Row, column, blah, blah, blah. So you see that this will work out to be 1, 0, 0, 0. You can do the same thing to work out the rest of these, which I will leave you to do since we're at time as an exercise for yourself. So try this. Make sure you understand this outer product. And then we'll come back next time and we'll start with this and pick up with an exercise. There's a little bit more to finish in the review part of linear algebra. But the majority of next time will be on something new in linear algebra, which is the tensor product, which is very important and very fundamental for all of quantum mechanics and quantum information. So we'll finish the review content of today, and then on Friday we'll pick it back up with the tensor products.